Yo, what's up guys, Boss here, and I'm back on the YouTube video, and this time we're going to be playing some top ladder using what, in my opinion, is the best Electro Spirit deck. As you guys know, the Electro Spirit just came out. The challenge started, it was either very early today or late last night, and I already unlocked it. And if you look at number 3 in the world right now, Wallace is currently 3rd using this RG Firecracker Electro Spirit deck. If you guys remember, Firecracker ended up getting a small nerf, a few months ago, but in my opinion, it's still a really solid card and definitely still viable. It's still extremely annoying, the pushback effect of it for your opponents to have to deal with. And the Electro Spirit, in my opinion, is a great substitute for the Heal Spirit. And especially because it's the boosted card, if you guys want a chance to use this RG deck and maybe you don't have the Heal Spirit max, the Electro Spirit is going to be great because you have it boosted. And in my opinion, the Electro Spirit might even be better than the Heal Spirit in the deck, especially after that small Heal Spirit nerf, because it ends up resetting things such as the Inferno Dragon now. And this RG deck before struggled against Inferno Drag, but now you have a reset for it. And of course, with the Skeleton Dragons getting nerfed, that's why the Firecracker is great. And then the Electro Spirit, since you already have the Electro Spirit, you don't really need to have the Electro Wizard in the deck, which makes the Firecracker a really good option in the deck. So before we get in the first game, if you guys want to support me, you can use my creator code BOSS. Help support me, help support the channel, and I really appreciate all you guys who do use my code. It means a lot. But yeah, we're pretty high up already. I'm 242nd in the world. We're going to try to push up more, try to get into at least the top 200. That would be a pretty solid goal. And I think, guys, the Electro Spirit is a very good card. I mean, as you guys know, the Electro Giant, if you guys have already, played it and tested it, the Electro Giant is definitely a very, weak card. Very underwhelming for 8 Elixir, but the Electro Spirit, on the other hand, it's going to be great to have another, like especially in RG, because the Electro Spirit, if you guys didn't know, you can activate the King Tower off of it pretty easily, same as the E-Drag, so that's why it's going to pair really well inside of Royal Giant decks, because if your Wing Condition, has a range like the Royal Giant, it doesn't really matter if your opponent ends up activating the King Tower. But what I mean by it being easy to activate the King Tower is it's the same as the E-Drag. If you play a troop, it'll chain and it'll actually activate your king. So that's why the Electro Spirit is not a card you want to be playing with Graveyard and things like that. It's definitely one that pairs honestly best with RG and maybe, a couple other things. So he probably has Graveyard because we already see the Poison and the Bar Putt as well. So I guess we can just go for a log. We could get another Firecracker down, though, because we know that his Poison is out of rotation. We can go for an Electro Spirit. That's going to probably chain everything. So there you guys go. You get a good kind of representation right early on of what the Electro Spirit is capable of. He might be back to a Bar Putt, we'll see, but he doesn't have a Bar Barrel in cycle, so that Firecracker is going to be obnoxious for him to deal with. And you guys see, even though that Firecracker got a little bit of a nerf a while back, I mean, it's putting in some work right now. It's been alive for so long, it eventually goes down, but it was on the map for such a long time. Alright, he's just going to poison it. And I'm going to go ahead and RG because he doesn't have a Bar Putt in rotation. He's probably going to Baby Dragon. Ooh, actually kind of a bad... I forget what he... It was a bad... I think it was, I guess, Bar Barrel? Or he didn't end up distracting the Fisherman. That's what I mean. That's where he messed up. As a result, we're able to pull the Healer. And the RG just gets so many hits on his tower. I'm going to go for a Royal Giant again. We can go for an Electro Spirit. He's going to Bar Putt. That's going to chain pretty much everything, so we get some pretty good value there. And because his Bar Putt is going to be out of rotation, we can go ahead and go for another Royal Giant and follow it up with a Electro Spirit. Unfortunately, it ended up getting distracted by the bar barrel, so didn't get as much value as we were looking for. But a really nice hunter. It might even kill the Mega Minion. Oh my gosh, that was such a valuable hunter. I wasn't expecting it to kill the Mega Minion. That was so much more value than I thought it was going to get. Obviously, I knew it was going to take out the Baby Dragon, but the Mega Minion too, that was kind of just a bonus at that point. Okay, so we can cycle Skeletons, Electro Spirit. Definitely going to Fireball that. I mean, it's an even trade, and at this point, we're getting pretty close to where we could even spell cycle him potentially. So we're just going to keep cycling things. I'm going to go for a Hunter on this Baby Dragon. Go for an Electro Spirit. Hopefully it can end up chaining everything. Nice, it does. It also stuns the Baby Dragon. He is going to go for a Mega Minion. It gets most of its HP removed already. And once again, going to give me some good Fireball value. So obviously we are going to take that. And then let's see what he wants to do. He's going to go for a push. So I guess the Electro Spirit's going to do a really nice job of cleaning up the graveyard, as you saw. A lot of people are using it in xbow due to the fact that it's so good versus graveyard. And some people are using it in Hog 2.6 because 2.6 struggles against graveyard. So even though it's possible to activate the king off of the Electro Spirit, people are still going to be using it in ground decks just because of how useful it is against certain swarms. Okay, I guess we can just go for a Fireball because his graveyard's out of rotation. He just used Poison, so definitely safe going in for that. Fireball, we could even log just to see in case we need to use our Fireball on defense, we would still be able to finish it off with a log. So that's going to be a good game. Not too bad of a matchup in my opinion. I think in triple elixir, there's no way we're going to break through with an RG, but you saw we did a really nice job of cycling and keeping the pressure up in single and double elixir because he has quite an expensive deck. And by the way, that deck he's using right there, I might make a video on soon. Really good deck. It was used in CRL by Ruben. I don't know if Ruben made the deck, but I think he was one of the first like really good players to use the deck, and then people started using it after him. It's a very, very good deck, especially after the healer rework. So I might, in a future video pretty soon, make a video on it because it's a great deck. All right, so we're 212th in the world, one game away from 6,500, and for sure putting us into the top 200. So let's go into another game, try to win this one, get into the top 200, and then from there, maybe we'll keep going, see how high we can get. But yeah, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if Firecracker is going to be back in this meta. I think it pairs really well with the Electro Spirit. I don't know why exactly, but just a lot of people have been using Firecracker and Electro Spirit in the same deck, mostly with this RG deck, but I've also seen Royal Hog's Electro Spirit Firecracker. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's because when you have the Electro Spirit, you don't really need to have EWIZ in your deck, so that opens up other things such as, you know, the Firecracker, but it also could mean Musketeer. So, I mean, we'll just kind of have to see what happens. I'm going to RG in the back. Normally when I'm using a Giant or RG deck and someone plays a Goblin Cage, I usually just RG into it, especially if I have the Fisherman to pull away the Brawler. Like, I feel like it just kind of makes sense to. So yeah, we're going to get a pretty good value Fireball here. Hopefully this Brawler gets pulled away. It is going to, so that's going to force a Fisherman out of him, but before he ends up getting it down, the RG already got some damage, which was pretty solid for us. And whoa. The Fisherman ended up being pulled by mine. I don't think he was expecting that, so his RG ended up kind of being unsupported, which was not a very... I feel like that wasn't a very good RG on his end. And he's going to take 2 Hunter shots in the right lane. So I mean, we got a pretty solid lead already. He's using an RG deck like we are, but of course he's got a couple things different. Fisherman just to pull away the bar barrel. I think I'm going to Fireball the EWIZ just because it's an even trade, and I don't know if we'd Fireball anything else in this matchup. I'm going to go for skeletons to distract the Ewiz so it doesn't end up perma-stunning the fisherman, so then the fisherman doesn't even pull it. That would be really bad. I think we get 2 hits on his tower with the fisherman. Nice. We can just stun this baby dragon so then it doesn't end up taking out our... I think I'm going to RG, and that was kind of a bad bar barrel. See, guys, people aren't used to the Firecracker. It's been out of the meta so long, it seems like people don't really know how to deal with it anymore. But it was such an annoying card, and then when it got nerfed, everyone just stopped using it because they thought it was bad, or just there are other options. But I don't know, I think it's back in the meta, especially with this Electro Spirit. Do we get a hit? No, we almost got one more. We need one more. Log does enough damage. Does 104, I think. Let's go. Oh my gosh. I almost threw that game. I had a pretty massive lead, and then I played a pretty bad hunter because he had the fisherman down at the ready to pull it, and that wasn't a good hunter. Or I played skeletons right into his bar barrel. So almost messed up there at the end, but we did a nice job of, you know, making sure we didn't lose our tower, at least. But yeah, I mean, the Electro Spirit in that last game didn't get as much value as it did in the first game, but it definitely did at a couple points in the game do a good job of stunning. And also, what I realized is another way you can use it, and I didn't think of this in the last game, but if someone has an RG down and then they play a fisherman next to the RG, if it's in range, you could actually Electro Spirit, stunning their fisherman to prevent it from pulling your hunter or whatever you're using to defend the RG, because if it stuns it, it resets the hook charge, I think. So if there's something next to the fisherman and it jumps and then chains, if it jumps on whatever that is, or the fisherman itself, it'll reset the hook, I believe, on the fisherman. So that might be a useful. And by the way, what did we? I forgot if I checked. Wow, we moved up all the way into the top 150. I was at like 210 or something, but we moved up about 60 places or something crazy like that just from one win. That's kind of crazy. Usually when you win, you move up maybe like 30. It's not usually 60 places. That's pretty remarkable. Of course, well, obviously, like if you're like 500th or like 1,000th, you're gonna move up like 100 places. But usually when you're in the 200s, 300s, it's usually only like 30. So yeah, we'll play a couple more games, see if we could even get to maybe 6,600. I think if we win maybe 3 more games, we could even get 6,600. So yeah, we could see if that happens. Okay, here we go. So we have Electro Spirit in our starting hand. If you're using a deck that has Electro Spirit and it's a ground deck, or what I mean by a ground deck is if you're using like a giant deck, hog deck, something like that, where the win condition doesn't have a range. And what does it chain against? No, the skeletons are too far apart. But Hunter's really good against Balloon, which is great for us. And because we have a fairly fast cycle, we can cycle back, to another Hunter. And the Firecracker, we can end up spacing out pretty far away from the Hunter, so we can't end up fireballing both. But it looks like he is going to have arrows. So that's kind of a bit unfortunate, considering Firecracker does kind of get destroyed by arrows. Arrows are one of the best counters to it, because it's an even trade, and you get tower damage as well, typically. But we can still work around it. We have a much faster cycle than him. And that Hunter's going to get a hit on his tower if he lets it go, which is quite a lot of damage. I'm going to RG, because he has his... Yeah, I was going to say, he has to either Tombstone or play Barbarians, and I knew either way we were going to, you know, get a lot of damage because we had both Fireball and Cycle for the Barbarians, and we also had Log and Cycle for the Tombstone. The Electro Spirit might get some good value against the Lava Pups. I feel like you can... Yeah, I mean, when the Lava Hound pops, can't you go for an Electro Spirit and it'll, like, chain all of them? I think so. That would be pretty valuable if it does end up doing that. I'm just going to Fisherman because this will force a response out of him and also tank for the Firecracker. And as I said, our cycle is so quick, so we're pretty easily able to get back to another one. The Balloon doesn't even get a single connection because we were able to cycle back to a Hunter so quick. I can have Fireball at the ready, or we could even just go for an Electro Spirit here. That'll end up chaining all the Barbarians, which allows the RG to get a connection on the tower. And I think we won because as of right now, he doesn't have Barbarians in rotation. I think he gave up. There's no way he's stopping that. So, I mean, even though he's got arrows for the Firecracker, if someone's using arrows in a pretty expensive deck, such as Lava Loon, you're going to be able to get back to your Firecracker when you need it. I mean, this deck has a 3.0 average elixir cost, which is extremely fast compared to these heavy decks. So, you can work around it really, really easily. The only time where it would be a little bit more difficult is if for some reason someone's using arrows in, like, a pretty fast cycle deck, but arrows are mostly only used in Lava Hounds, so you should never have that issue. So we're 1/18th now, let's go. I mean, we're getting really close to 6,600. In fact, we could even get it after this game if I win 33 or, you know, more than the average, because the average is 30 trophies typically, but you often, when you're high up, can get like plus 35s, even plus 40s if someone's much higher than you, so we'll see what happens. But we'll at the very least try to get into the top 100 here. And yeah, guys, this deck just seems so strong. I think you've been seeing pretty much, especially that Lava Hound game and the Graveyard Bar Putt match, the Firecracker is just getting an insane amount of value. Okay, so here we go. We can cycle Skeletons. He's going to go for Spear Goblins. We can go for an Electro Spirit. Spear Goblins could be a lot of different things. It could be Mortar Bait. It could be minor wall breakers. A lot of people have been using minor wall breakers with Spear Goblins instead of the Skeletons. And that's exactly what it's going to be. So he has Bomb Tower and Knight. This is a pretty difficult matchup, to be honest, because his cycle is extremely fast, so it's difficult to outcycle him. And also the Knight and Bomb Tower, the defense is just really strong, honestly. And it can be pretty difficult to break through. But what I need to do is go for RGs in the back. Hopefully, it was close to having enough hit points to get a hit, but unfortunately it wasn't. I think we need an RG in the back. That's pretty much the only thing we can do. Luckily, those wall breakers kind of went to waste. I mean, they distracted the Fisherman, but they didn't end up applying any pressure. So I'll gladly RG in the back with him having the wall breakers out of cycle. But I'm going to need a Fireball this year. Oh, now he's going to Bomb Tower. He has to, yeah. It's just the question of if we can cycle back to another RG. This is why in this matchup you want to RG in the back, because you want to try to get them to Bomb Tower after you've already cycled a couple cards. And this is exactly why RG fits great in this deck, because you... No! Yeah, we lost. It's a really, really difficult matchup. And that we got a little bit unlucky there with that timing, that he went for the wall breakers. But, yeah, if I just had a little bit more elixir, we would have been able to defend, I think. But, yeah, it's so difficult. Like, this is one of the worst matchups for sure. For, like, most RG decks. Like, even the RG Skeleton Dragons deck, this was one of the worst matchups you could get, just because I mean, what can I say? Like, you guys are witnessing what's happening right now. There's not really anything I can do. We could make a comeback potentially if he... he could have messed up a little bit there, to be honest, because now... Yeah, he pre-planted the bomb tower. But yeah, I think this is game over. Yeah, I tried my best. Like, we almost kind of made a comeback. Sort of. I mean, we got his tower under 1,000, and we got, to be fair, a little unlucky at the beginning just with our cycle. But yeah, it's a really difficult matchup, and I think in single elixir, I mean, even though his cycle is the same as mine 3.0, it's, I mean, because my win condition's the RG, it's sort of... It's even in a way mine, even though they're same, it's kind of mine cycles a little slower if I want to use my win condition and break through, because his win condition is obviously the miner and the wall breakers, which are just so cheap. But in order for me to build a push, it just costs so much more, and I never can really get in a... It's so difficult for me to put myself in a situation to break through, unless I'm up a ton of elixir and I RG in the back and then get a second one down, and that's what you saw. I went for 2 RGs, but like, unfortunately, I was only able to do that one time, and I probably needed to do that 2 or 3 times in order to win and break through. Okay, so this might be our last game. We found a game versus Black Pearl. He's gonna go for an RG in the back. A lot of people do that when they're using RG. Okay, so not a good fisherman on his end. Okay, so not a good firecracker on his end. And we're going to get a good chunk of damage. He's up elixir, though, but I'm not really too worried, considering it's like 1 only that he's up. Now we can counter push. Alright, let's pressure. Ooh, good log. Nice. He wasn't expecting the RG in the pocket. Oh, the Electro Spirit stunned the Hunter. Okay. He's continuing to play RGs in the back, which is interesting. I'm gonna Royal Giant. I don't think playing RGs in the back is a great play in double. He missed the fireball. Oh, look at the fisherman that pulled the RG away. Oh my gosh. He's so upset. Look at him, he's spamming the laugh. Oh my gosh. I mean, what a game to end off of. Like, oh my gosh. Bro. I mean, he missed the fireball, and I mean, that was a crazy game. I couldn't even talk or, like, commentate at all because, like, I had to focus, like, so much. And this is why I say, like, the last couple days of the season, I don't typically record videos, like, of, like, when I'm playing, like, really seriously and trying to go for a really good finish, because I just can't really, like, talk and explain anything when I have to, like, focus on the game. So if you guys thought that was intense, when it's like the last day of the season and I'm like really zoned in, and if like I'm in the top like 100 like last few hours, because I take ladder really seriously, as you guys know. I try to go for a new best finish, and my best is 5th. So recently I got 5th and 6th this year, like when this, and I'm going for top 3, so it gets really intense. But that was pretty crazy. So we ended up winning our last game off of a mirror match. I thought we played that pretty well. Not really too sure why he was playing RGs in the back in double and triple elixir. In single elixir, in my opinion, it's definitely okay. And you saw me earlier in the video when I'm versus buildings, I like doing it. But I feel like once you've already identified that it's a mirror match, when you're in double and triple, I don't really think it makes sense to play RGs because it's easier to defend them. Like, in the back, I mean. It's easier to defend them. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Let me know what you guys think of the Heal Spirit. You know, do you think it's better than the Electro Spirit? Excuse me. Do you guys think the Electro Spirit's better than the Heal Spirit in this deck? I mean, what do you guys think of, like, seeing the Firecracker again in the meta? Hasn't been in the meta in a while, but clearly really, really good. I just pushed up with this deck, like 300 trophies today, or at least 250, but yeah, thanks again. Until next time, guys.